When you experience a negative emotion, would you choose this? The answer is no. Or as my guest today shares, hell no.
Welcome to Love Life, featuring your host, Jane Donovan.
The sun shines bright as it moves across my face. I feel the light.
Back in the early 70s as a young child, I first heard we only use 10% of our brains. This instinctively just didn't make sense to me. Why would we not use all of our brain? And I wanted to know what the other 90% was for. And so started my fascination into the mind, which led to curiosities about telepathy, intuition, emotional processing, psychic ability, the subconscious and superconscious, and much more. In the early 80s, I bought a book that back then was banned from being sold in Australia. The book was called Super Learning. I was only able to purchase this as, at the time, I was working at a university where restrictions for regular bookshops didn't exist. I learned in this book about the power of the subconscious mind and just how powerful it really could be. This fascination never really left me. However, over time, other curiosities took its place. Until recently. As many of you know, I've loved following Dr. Emoto's work. He's better known as the Water Crystal Man. I feel it's the basis of much of my learnings and teachings and understandings, that everything is vibration and our intent is a very powerful creator. Dr. Emoto's work with water, however, led me to Dr. Darren Weissman's work with blood, where the power of intent has the same results. This then led me to a few close friends who trained in Dr. Weissman's work, known as the Lifeline Technique. Now, if you want to hear more from Darren and his amazing work, have a listen to episode 114. I'll pop the link in the show notes where we got to chat with him for quite a while. This technique really helps people to tap into their subconscious mind, the one that so often runs the show and has us struggling often to understand what's really going on. Now, while the Lifeline technique is much more than what we'll be touching on today, one of the elements fascinates me, the muscle reflex testing element. This is a simple tool that used to tap into the subconscious mind and get some answers. I've experienced muscle testing both through kinesiology as well as through this technique, and while they're both completely different, I wanted to learn how to do a simple reflex muscle test.
It's time for Heart Talk.
My guest today is a true heart-centered goddess. Katrina Heuskes is a master Lifeline practitioner at the Lifeline Wellness Centre. She is deeply dedicated to personal improvement and openly acknowledges that processing emotion is the single most important thing a person can do to achieve their optimal health and most vital self. So this was definitely my go-to goal, to learn more about the subconscious mind, when to use muscle testing, and possibly, more importantly, when not to use it. And finally, I asked Katrina to teach us how to muscle test ourselves. Yes, we are teaching this with audio only. I start by asking Katrina, is it possible to tap into the subconscious mind with muscle reflex testing and find the answer to any question?
Well, I believe so. And in my experience, I use muscle reflex testing every day on myself or with my children or with clients, just to check on where I'm at. Or if I'm having a great day, I might not use muscle reflex testing at all because there's no part of me that wants support and guidance. But ultimately, the reflex of the muscle is present in our system for a reason. And I don't necessarily know exactly why that is, but I know that doctors test it for babies when they're born. Can they grip? Will they have a reactive response if I touch them in a certain way? It shows a sense of development. So it's there for a reason. The way I use muscle reflex testing is actually to talk with the subconscious mind, because that's what I do with work. I think that the most important thing that we can do is process emotion. So to process emotion, we first have to recognize which emotion we are either in alignment with or triggered by. And because the subconscious mind is 90 to 98% of a reactive experience that we're really unaware of, it's that metaphor that below the surface there is experiences we haven't fully gone through yet. Muscle reflex testing is a gorgeous way to support us to go in and find that emotion and harmonize it to a higher frequency. I use infinite love and gratitude. Some people might use meditation. Some people might say, thank you, I love you, right? For me, muscle reflex testing was a foreign concept before I came across the Lifeline technique. So what I want to do is I want to share with you how a simple bent arm muscle reflex test can support you. So the first thing that we want to do with muscle reflex testing is come from your heart. Always come from your heart, because the reactive mind, being subconscious in nature, is designed to protect you from experiences that may have held an energy that has limited or inhibited you from really stepping forward into your power.
I just imagine people listening going, well, how do I get into my heart?
Well,
Or is that 10 hours of a podcast in itself?
Well, it could potentially be. There really is, to me, an honesty that comes with it. So we're busy people. I get it. We are in our pain and our challenges and our fear-based thinking, quite a bit. There's conversations with anxiety and depression and worry. And I know that stuff is real. And yet all it really does take is a flip of a switch in the way that you're perceiving in a moment to say, hey, I would never choose to be experiencing this way. What else could I think instead? What else could I choose instead? All right, I am in anxiety right now. I am in fear-based thinking. Would I choose it? No. Okay, there's the flip. You just
Would
turned off
I
light.
choose it? Would I choose it is such a powerful word, isn't it? Because the answer is always going to be no, isn't it?
It's actually going to be hell no, right?
Hell no.
It's a really quite profound moment, but it can happen in an instant. So how do you get into your heart? You choose it.
Right.
You choose it. So and you make sure that it's coming with intention to choose it.
So
when people say choose love over fear, well, how do you do that? Well, you choose it. You say, I choose love. Right. Find the language in for yourself. For me, I'm in fear. I'm in frustration and anger at the kids that didn't get their lunches organised this morning, and I said it was time. Whatever's coming up for me, would I choose this feeling of frustration and anger at my children first thing in the morning? No, actually, hell no. So as soon as I've asked would I choose it and I know the answer is no, then I have the opportunity. I've already flipped that switch because I've identified and observed something which I now can influence. And so the conscious mind is the mind that influences. So we always use muscle reflex testing with intention and a conscious intent to shift reactionary patterns of what might be coming up, or to get support to understand a choice that needs to be made between the hell yes and the hell no. Now, a muscle reflex test is actually used in practitioners like kinesiologists or chiropractors who test for weak spots in the body. How I do it is test for reactionary gaps within my conscious mind and my subconscious mind. And I do that through emotion. I'm I'm kinesthetic, I'm visual as well. However, how I always imagine this is like right in the middle of your forehead, there's a point, that's the infinite mind of your thought to be creative, right? So right now as I'm talking to you, Jane, I'm touching the middle of my forehead and there's a point there. Now behind that point is the pineal gland, which is what we activate when we're meditating. And when we're meditating, we are setting an intention to consciously access our highest vibration. But sometimes those reactionary thought patterns are going to come in and move us away. So too can emotion, so too can a trigger like what you see or smell or taste or touch or feel. So how I imagine it is, I'm well and truly in a reactive part of my mind. And I just imagine when you go I've just been to Bali, so I'm thinking about Bali, and I'm thinking about all those kids that love to play on the water slide at that water bomb park. It's really a slide. It's so easy. It's a slide. Just bring your finger on your forehead down to your heart. Bam. And just imagine you're sliding into it. And water is about emotion for me. So to slide from your head to your heart is about sliding into the emotion of whatever's going on. And your heart is your compass. It's your emotional compass. No, it's excitement. Excitement holds strong in a muscle reflex test, so you know you're on target with that feeling, even if it is a funky feeling. Now, if the funky feeling is sitting in a place in your heart that doesn't feel so great and it's more of a funk than a funky, then we can go and access emotion using muscle reflex testing to harmonize it. And how I do it is I use a hand mudra, which means I love you in American and actually Australian Sign Language. And it's like you go to give a high five, you bring down your ring and your middle finger, and you're left with your pinky and your forefinger and your thumb extended. You place it over your heart, and with true intention of that funk feeling, you would say infinite love and gratitude, and you just say it till it shifts. Muscle reflex testing will then allow you to know whether the shift has occurred. So muscle reflex testing is just, it's amazing, but it's just a tool for confirmation of what your heart already knows. So I can teach it. I can teach how to do a muscle reflex test, but ultimately the greatest instructor of your compass, of your due north, is always your heart. So if you can slide in that little waterfall from the funky mind into that amazing heart that will always lead you to your truth, then you're on the money. Then abundance, and when I say on the money, it may very well be gorgeous cash flow, or it could be the abundance of all the things in your life that you are manifesting, creating, and inspired to go for.
Because there's a lot of really cool uses for this, isn't there? Like, we have a mutual friend who recently sat a very heavy exam, and at the end of the exam she quickly went through and muscle tested every answer, and I think it was an exam of several hundred questions, and she just muscle tested to make sure she'd got every single one right. Well, she did. She got the 100%. And I've heard of people that go shopping.
Yeah.
And they go shopping and they'll hold two products and muscle test which one is best for my body. And they, instead of reading all that fine print jargon that I struggle to understand of, this product contains whatever. What a fast way and efficient way to know which is the right one for your body.
Oh, I love
think there's
that.
so many cool things you can use this for that kind of are those yes-no answers.
There's for sure ways that you can use just to support you to feel in alignment with your choice. Don't use it to make the choice. Make your choice and then see, am I in alignment with it? That's how I would use it, because then you're actually still actioning your free will choice. Muscle reflex testing. Like, your friend still had to sit her examination. She still had to answer all the questions. What she was doing at the end of that was saying, is there anything else? Is there anything more that I can do here to support this experience for me? And for her, she nailed it. The answer was, no, there's nothing more I need to do. When there's a body product that you want to use, I actually have used muscle reflex testing to test the quality of fruit that I choose in the shop. I've used it at the end of, say, I've written a report for work, and it's something that I need to send out as an email. I'll do similar to what your friend did, and I'll muscle reflex test. Is there anything else that I need to include or support here? And if there is, then I'll add it. If a muscle reflex test goes, yes, Katrina, somewhere in your subconscious, there's more work to be done. And there's a part, if you're muscle reflex testing, there's a part of you that already knows that.
Yes, you're looking for validation.
For validation, exactly.
Yeah.
So what's another example? Oh, what was another example I was thinking of before?
Well, I can think of one that people would be tempted to do that I don't think's a great one. When you touched on don't let it make decisions kind of for you, where I can imagine single people dating, going out on first dates. Should I see this guy or girl again? Yes, no. That kind of thing, where they are stopping the exploration of growth and experience.
I've been single before. I've gone, wow, would this person be the optimal choice for me? And I've been tempted to muscle reflex test it.
I bet, I can imagine.
And I promise you I haven't, because for me, being in your heart, consciously in your heart, will always lead you in the right direction. And if you are already in your head questioning a relationship or a potential relationship or a potential person, then you're not actually in your heart to muscle reflex test anyway, and it's going to get a wacky response. And then you'll be, I don't know if this muscle reflex testing is working. I'm not sure if I got it right. And if you don't like the answer, then I'll reflex test. Can you reflex test for me? It's like you're not even in your heart to muscle reflex test. You shouldn't be doing it. What I have done, though, in relationship with muscle reflex testing is recognize a trigger's come up for me. And I've really wanted to go at my partner and say exactly what I wanted to say. And, you know, I've spent some proportion of my life learning how to speak the truth. So that would be good for me to speak my truth. And I'm going to speak my truth in this moment, and I'm going to say exactly what I want. And then there's a part of me that goes, hang on, yes, that is your truth right now, but is the truth being spoken right now going to support the longevity of a healthy relationship if you speak it in this way right now as much as you want to? And I'll be like, okay, on my muscle reflex test, is right now the optimal time to speak my truth? It gives way, and I'm like, no. And I already know the answer. No, it's not, because I'm coming from a reactive headspace place, a triggered place. Can I give it a day, 2 days, 3 days? Yeah, okay. In 3 days' time, I'll revisit if I actually want to say that.
Wow, that's
And in
powerful.
3 days, you've given yourself time and space. You know what happens in 3 days? Things have shifted. Things have changed. There's been another way of approaching something. You might have had another aha moment that went, ooh, what I was just triggered by was actually something that was mirrored in me. And you know what? That's my stuff. That's not your stuff. So I actually need to speak that truth to me. And then it doesn't need to be said. And guess what? The relationship thrives because the self-development work's done by taking your power back and owning the stuff. So I
Nice.
muscle reflex testing to catch myself out in a moment, just to, because again, what is it? It's wanting validation that I can say whatever I want whenever I want. Well, you know, good on me if I want to, but am I ready for the consequences?
Nice
Do I
example.
choose reactive parts of me, or do I choose love? And in that moment, as much as I want to have my say as a woman on the planet, I choose love. You know, and it turns out to be self-love when you do that, which
Yes.
is what will always be the guide for creating healthy reciprocal relationships with the people around you. And if it's not my partner, it's with my children. And don't get me wrong, Jane, sometimes I'm crazy. And in that sense of crazy with the triggers that are going on, and it feels so overwhelming, I don't know how to tap into being conscious. So that's why I've got my beautiful hand mudra of infinite love and gratitude in that moment that I'll use with intention and see where it takes me.
I think that's an awesome example of how to use this. Should we get into learning how do we do this?
For sure. All right. So what I use is a simple bent arm muscle reflex test. So you have an arm, and it doesn't matter which arm you use. I always muscle reflex test my dominant arm. So I use my non-dominant hand to muscle reflex test my dominant arm.
That's a good point, because I would have automatically gone the other way.
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter how you do it, but I feel comfortable doing it that way. So play with it. So I'm going to get you to get your right arm,
Yes.
if it's not injured and you're okay to use it.
Yes.
And I want you to put your elbow into your waist and have the rest of, I don't even know what that's called, your forearm and your hand extended. So you're at a 90-degree angle. So, you know, your elbow's designed to sit at your hip, and your forearm and your hand are out. And I want you to imagine, and relax your shoulder, take a breath. You know, breathing gets you into your heart too. That's really a good thing to know. Imagine with your hand that you're holding a litre bucket of water. Now with your other hand, so I'm using my right hand at the 90-degree angle. With your other hand, with your left hand, I want you to bring it up and place it over your wrist. And in your mind or out loud, you are going to say to yourself, Jane or Katrina, hold strong. And what you're saying is hold strong to holding on to that liter bucket of water. Now with the other hand, you're going to push down. Just push down. And what you're looking for is to be able to push down on the bent arm until you can't push down anymore. Till you find what we call a 0-point lockout. So you tell me when you've got that, Jane.
Yep, got it.
All right. Push gently.
Yes.
Or push really hard. That is not going to go anywhere.
It's not going anywhere at all.
Oh,
It's not moving.
I know, you're a rock star right now. Now, when you let go of that that feeling of pushing down or matching the resistance, your arm will give way. When you let go, there's a reflex that happens with the bent arm and it boings up.
Yes.
There's a really intelligent word for describing muscle reflex.
No, I like boinged up. That's good.
It boings. It just boings. So that is your 0 point. That's your starting point for knowing whether it's a strong reflex or a weak reflex. Now, that's a strong reflex muscle, what we just demonstrated. So as you relax and take a breath, I'm going to get you to do it again. So arm in, bent arm in, 90 degrees, and you'd say, hold strong, right? You find it.
Yep, got it.
Let it go. So you know you've got it. You feel comfortable with the indicator muscle locking out. Now, I'm going to get you to say this. I'm going to get you to say, my name is Jane.
My name is Jane.
And then you say, hold strong, because you're talking to yourself. You're talking to subconscious, right? So hold strong. And I want you to do the same thing. Match your resistance as you push.
It's strong.
Down. Right, it's strong, okay? And when you let go, what happens? Boing.
It just flops out. Yeah.
Flops
out. There's another very good technical term.
I love it.
Boinking and flopping out.
Boinking and flopping. Now, so this time, so you know who you are. In that moment, you are Jane. The muscle reflex test is strong. You have a strong indicator muscle. You're totally in alignment with all of your truth. It's you.
Yes.
Now, you know, what's your grandmother's name?
Elvie.
Elvie. Oh, I love that. That's really cool. Say this. Say, my name is Elvie.
My name is Elvie.
Okay. Now, same again.
I did it.
What just happened?
It just dropped down. Like the wrist I couldn't hold strong.
And
like the arm, my wrist bent and my arm dropped down.
So you went past 0 point. So do it again. My name is Elvie.
My name is Elvie.
Yeah. Try and find 0 point. What happens?
I can't find it.
You can't. Why? Because it's going past it, right?
Yes.
Goes past 0 point, lockout, because are you Elvie?
No.
No. Infinite love and gratitude, right? So you are not Elvie, you are Jane. You have just recognized that there's a gap in that state of your being. So say it again. My name is Jane. Tell me what happened.
My name is Jane.
Arm in.
Super strong. So strong.
Right. So there you go. So you found the difference between a strong indicator muscle and a weak indicator muscle. So whenever you want a muscle reflex test, it's a good starting point. So I would say, my name is Katrina. Hold strong, Katrina, and I would push down, match my resistance, you know, and I would see if I could find that strong indicator muscle. Yes. And then I would say, well, my grandmother's name's Mariana. And I cannot find 0 point because what happens is I go past 0 point. It's not my truth. I'm not in alignment with being my grandmother, even though we got the same DNA. It's not who I am, right? So then I would say again, my name is Katrina. And then I find that strong indicator muscle lockout. That is your starting point. I always do that just to see where I'm at. So the next thing I want to play with you is with emotion. Same deal, Jane. Bring that arm in, extend it out. Imagine like you're holding a litre bucket of water.
Yep.
Find the 0 point, right?
Yep.
And let go. Take a breath. This time I'm going to invite you to say love, love, love.
Love, love, love.
Now, as you muscle reflex test with your, you know, your hand just gently over the wrist of the bent arm, what happens?
It's so solid. It's really solid.
Well, that's because you're the love life goddess, my darling.
I don't know about that, but thank you very much. That's a lovely compliment.
You know what usually happens with a vibration of love? People know it. You know, we are born on this planet in pure love, regardless of how we came into the world. Our spirit is pure love. So on that beautiful essence of the truth of who we are, love is who we are. So we are aligned with love. So it's a great emotion to check in on, right? Love. Now say fear, fear, fear.
Fear, fear, fear. No,
And
I
then-
can't get it.
Right.
It just is doing exactly the same as when I said my name is Elvie.
Right. So it gives way. There is a gap between the conscious part of you and the reactive part of you. So when we're muscle reflex testing and you've got a strong indicator muscle, I call that the conscious muscle.
Right.
When it gives way, it's not that it's weak, it's not that it's wrong, it's not that there's something that's broken. What it is, it's creating a gap. And the distance between the strong indicator muscle and, you know, not definitively, it just means that there is, some people give a big gap when they muscle reflex test. Others have a little small movement that goes past 0 point. So it's not about the distance of the gap, but what it does represent is a strong indicator muscle is the conscious, and anything below the 0 point lockout, you're in a reactive state.
Right.
So fear, fear, fear isn't harmonized to a conscious state of being. There is a
Right.
gap there. Would you choose fear? No.
No. Hell no.
Hell no, right? Now, I'm going to always leave you with love. So say love, love, love,
Love, love, love.
and then recheck your muscle.
Oh, so strong.
So there's, you know, people say it's a yes or a no. You know, is it yes or is it a no? For me, it's, you know, there's a part of me that's consciously aligned. That's a strong indicator muscle. And if it's a weak indicator muscle, that's a part of me that's not consciously aligned. So that's a great way to use it for emotion. Sometimes if you've got choices that you might want to make, right? And it could be, you know, when I get up tomorrow morning, what time do I want to set my alarm for that's going to give me the optimal rest? Maybe. That's a really simple one, okay? And, you know that you've got to get up between 6 or 7.
Yes.
Just for instance, you might want to say, okay, do I set my alarm at 6, 6:30 or 7?
Right.
And it's just, you know, okay, what do I want to do? Now, the muscle reflex testing in this way is where you're going to find the choice for you that will support you. It, you know, but it will be the one that gives way. It'll
So
be the one
I
that
just
gives
did that because that's actually is my choice tomorrow morning between 6 and 7.
way. Okay, great.
And so 6 held strong,
Yep.
6:30 went below 0 and 7 went below 0.
Okay.
So is the answer 6?
So if you've had 2 go below, muscle reflex testing is always done with intention. So if you had 6 a.m. hold strong and the other 2 went weak, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Right? 6 would be your optimal. For me, when I'm muscle reflex testing with intention, I would always ask the question, what time is the optimal time for me to wake up? Now, in a choice of 3, I'm going to check for the one that gives way.
Right. Okay. So it
it's a
should
little
therefore be
bit-
6:30.
It could be. So for
Yes.
me, when I ask that question, is it 6? It holds strong. Is it 6:30? It gives way. Is it 7? Holds strong. 6:30. So for me, the optimal point, and this is where people get a little bit confused, but
Right.
6:30 gave way in a choice. That's the one that's demonstrating.
Oh, okay. But because I had 7 also go weak, it means it was 6.
You went in with the intention of which one for me will hold strong. That will be the one that I pick.
Right. So that was about my intent
Absolutely.
of how I want the answer
That's a
demonstrated.
muscle reflex test without conscious intention. So, you know, if I was muscle reflex testing for you, because we can surrogate for other people, and is it 6, 6:30, 7? For you, 6:30. Now, you said to me 6:30 and 7 went weak?
Yes.
Right. It's 6:30. Because I went in
Okay.
with the intention of which one out of these 3 will be the one that demonstrates where Jane wakes up. What's
Ah,
my optimal at, and it will highlight, it highlights which one.
right.
Using muscle reflex testing to assess an emotion that I want to find when I'm running a lifeline session with someone. And it might be out of 3 emotions. It might be, let's see if we need to process fear, anxiety, or anger. I would muscle reflex test. Is it fear? Hold strong. That's strong. No, it's not fear. Is it anxiety? No, that was strong. Is it anger? Yes, that gave way. That gave way. Anger gave way. There's a reactive part that I need to process for emotion with anger. So straight away, whenever my muscle testing gives way when it's in relation to emotion, I harmonize by doing the infinite love and gratitude hand mudra over my heart until that anger shifts.
So
Infinite love and
to
gratitude.
clarify, just going back to where I tested all 3, what is easier, or to not confuse the beginner like me, is that if you're holding strong, the first question you ask, if that went weak, that is your answer.
Correct.
Stop asking more questions.
Yep. You can check. You can check to see what the others do.
Right.
You can check, because if a couple go weak, then you know you've narrowed it down. And then you must reflex test between those two. Out of these 2 options, which one gives way? So so what I did initially was demonstrate to you how to get a strong indicator muscle. My name is Jane. Hold strong. Yes. My name is Elvie. No, it's not. That's a weak indicator muscle. That gave way. My name is Jane. Hold strong. That's strong. Right. I know what a strong muscle is, and I know what a give way muscle feels like. Now I have a choice. I want to check for that product on the shelf. You know, I want to get some moisturizer. And I've read the ingredients and I know that it's all beautiful, natural and healthy, and it's not tested on animals, and it's got all those yummy qualities that I want. But, you know, one smells prettier and the other one feels creamier, or, you know, so, you know, all of that aside, my intention is what is the most optimal moisturizer for me. You know, and it sounds pretentious, but, you know, women like
it's a
that
part of
stuff,
life.
right? Women like a nice moisturizer. So if you're using it in this way, and it's a safe way to practice, then you'd choose, this is 1 or this is 2, or you'd use the brand name, is it this or this, right? And you would say, hold strong to number 1, number 2. Number 2 gives way. I would choose number 2.
Oh, now you see, I would have gone the wrong way there.
So it depends on your intention.
Oh, I see. So my default seems like intention, without overthinking this, is that I'm looking for a stronghold. I'm looking for a lockout on the yes.
Okay.
But you were looking for a below 0
Yeah,
for a yes.
and maybe I might need to clarify this. So you are correct. If I've got 3 products and the muscle gives way on 1, that's the one I want.
That's
if
the one.
I've got 2, that's probably where it is. So if I've got 2 products and the muscle holds strong, then I'd go, yes, that's optimal for me.
Right, I get it.
So
I get it.
Do you want me to
Yes.
explain that again?
No, I get that. That's good.
Right, okay.
That's awesome.
So because I'm so used to muscle reflex testing for 4 or 5 different experiences or emotions, and I will always choose the one that gives way, because that is the one with the most resistance and the one we need to harmonize. That's the one I'm working on.
You know, another way of looking at it, would this be correct in my understanding, that the giving way can also, though, is because you're looking for, shall we use the word negative? You're looking for negative's not the right word.
The one that you're in the state of resistance to.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
So when I explained that with 2 products, what I would normally do is, if it gave way, I would harmonize to it. If it was between the 2. Because it really, honestly, when you come from your heart and you want to, so maybe there's a part of me that smelled prettier and I would choose the smell over the feel, then if I want that, you can still have that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a big fan of that. If you feel the love, do it.
So just say, you know, for me, I'd go infinite love and gratitude. I see that might be more optimal, but I'm going to choose this, but I'm going to harmonize to it. I know that there will be a vibrational frequency that I can come into alignment with if I come from my heart space choosing it rather than my head space.
I'm going to share a really funny little story now, Katrina,
Do it.
between you and me.
Yes, do it.
So one of my many times of exploring not smoking, Katrina had me write, "I love you" on my cigarettes before I smoked them. Now, I'm laughing because I had this packet of cigarettes and all these little love words written on them, and yet that was so in alignment with everything I believe from Dr. Emoto's work around the water and blessings and changing the structure of things, about coming from love, not coming from fear, all of the big philosophies that I believe so strongly in my life. That actually is a perfect example of it, isn't
I love
it?
that. Either through scientific research or through an experience of your body feeling funky with it. If you're going to choose something that's not so great for you and you want to choose it anyway, choose it with love. Do it with love. You know, I eat my fair share of chocolate and my fair share of gluten and my fair share of coffee. I don't smoke and I'm not an excessive drinker, but if I did, I'd be doing it with love for sure, because then you come from that place of gratitude that your body can process all these chemicals or all these toxins, that your body is an intelligent system designed to heal, to regenerate and be whole. But rather than eating, drinking, making love from a place of reactive fear-based thinking, do it from a place of conscious love. It feels different. It feels different. Even if you're in a reactive place, like for me, sometimes I absolutely know that I'm in a reactive